Holy shit. Wow. Uh
Yeah.
I they are moving at a pace, aren't they? They are getting some stuff done.
Yes, but also not enough is how I
No?
feel.
No?
Yeah.
Okay,
No.
talk to me. Talk to me. What do you think about the episode?
I This is a bummer of an episode for me. I'm
Oh
walking
yeah?
away with a bit of the ick, which is
Hmm.
not what I wanted to be feeling, of course, but uh I'll start with what I liked.
Yeah,
The last
sure.
like 10 minutes, the last like 10 minutes of the episode are absolutely incredible,
Awesome.
astounding stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
Spice Agony was beautiful in every way. The
yeah,
visuals, the interpretation of it,
yeah, yeah,
showing the fear of abomination and what that feels like, and the genuine horror of the Spice Agony that I think even the books don't really properly capture.
true.
Um,
Yeah.
very visceral stuff. Loved it. So good. So
Hmm.
good.
Yeah.
The rest of the episode
Uh-huh.
basically didn't do it for me. Obviously I have to sit with it and process my thoughts a little bit more, but just gut reactions. Kieran Atreides, giant nothing burger of a plastic cardboard cutout character that's not doing anything interesting. Uh, he's part of some rebellion, but we don't know why anyone's rebel. Like we have no context for this rebellion, no emotional stakes for this rebellion. There's one throwaway line about like we're being crushed under the heels of the great houses. Sure,
Yeah. Kind of like top 1%, like overthrow the ruling class.
I
Yeah,
guess, right? But
yeah.
like
Sure.
you got to get me invest. If I'm going to be rooting for a rebellion, I need to know the emotional stakes here.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the show's doing a lot of. I know it's kind of like a cliche critique to have, but it's doing a lot of telling and not showing.
Hmm.
A lot of characters just practically turning to the camera and saying the thing out loud. I wrote in my notes again. I'll have to refer to them, and maybe we'll get to them in our full episode.
For sure.
Um,
Yeah.
a couple of really cringy on the nose lines that almost feel like producer interjections to be like, "I'm confused. Can you remind me what's going on again?"
Hmm.
Like Tula having to like basically turn to the camera and be like, "This is what the sisterhood does. Remember
Hmm.
that."
Right.
Um, so I don't know. Like I know we got some like fun Lila reveal stuff that we were speculating about with
Hmm.
Quinn
Yeah, yeah,
last week. We got some cool stuff, but it's like sort of moving weirdly at a glacial pace. Like we're still doing so much setup, and we're setting up different plot lines that have yet to really intersect in any meaningful
yeah. Hmm.
way outside of Pruitt and Kasha being burned.
Right,
Um,
right.
even the Valia Desmond confrontations fell extremely flat to me because neither of them really said anything. It was a bunch of like
Hmm.
teasing and vagary,
Yeah.
um, and nothing of substance until the final scene, obviously with the voice, which we totally predicted, by the way.
Right, right.
Until that scene,
Yeah.
nothing in that relationship or in that plot line moved forward for all 59
Hmm.
minutes of this 60-minute episode. I'm being super negative. I loved. The highlight for me by far was the Spice Agony scene. I loved that
Hmm.
so much. The rest of the episode, I have some storytelling and structural issues with that we had I wish we had started moving forward with things. What
Yeah.
concerns me is it's a 6 episode season one, and if we're still in episode two, still setting things up, it's gonna be it's gonna have to be a very fast rest of the season. But we'll see. Anyway, that's my
Yeah.
mini rant. Tell me your thoughts. I think you're more excited about it than I am.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I kept reminding myself to like I kept finding myself just enjoying being in the Dune universe. Like when Constantine and that blonde woman are having sex, I was like, good Lord, they're both so beautiful. And they're like doing bumps of again, it looks like cocaine.
Yeah, but
And
it's
just
purple
like
this time.
but it's purple this time. I think it was bluish the first time as well. But
Okay.
very obviously blue this time. So I think like, and then them talking about Imperium stuff and oh, I'm from this house and oh, I don't really give a shit about my brother because he was always kept on a different planet and like, it
Yeah.
was like I enjoy the flushing out of some of these places and these people and as much as the Kieran Atreides scanning the house, scanning the palace, and then the traitor plot. It's again feels very like this feels auxiliary to more important things.
Yeah.
So I was enjoying it. I
Hmm.
definitely
Yeah.
felt some of what you're talking about for sure. Like I think the like when Valia is like, "Oh, I'm going to interrogate Desmond," and then she asks questions that are fine. Desmond
Yes.
admits to killing Kasha, kind of. And then uh, I had this moment of like, oh, okay, so you're done. So he admitted to
Right.
killing the Emperor's truth sayer, who the Emperor really likes. And then Valia just kind of like leaves the conversation there after she's like, what do you mean, see? Oh, your eye. Okay, interesting. And
Yeah.
then Javaco's like, I've heard enough. And I'm like, I haven't. Like, keep
Right.
talking, keep
Right.
asking him questions. But
Yeah.
I realized I went back to rewatch that scene, and I think I've kind of fallen on the understanding that Javaco has really, along with his wife's encouragement, has really fallen to like, oh no, this guy is a tool that I don't want to waste. If he can
Yeah.
kill people thousands of miles away whenever I want, that's sick. He's a Bluetooth gun. Like he's just like a you can just kill people on other planets. Like, fuck yeah, that's sick. So I
Yeah.
in thinking about it, the my complaints about that scene kind of dulled a little bit. But for sure, there's like some clunky, some script writing, some that's clunky and stuff,
Yeah.
some cliches here and there. I was just having a blast. And yeah, dude, the agony scene was so fucking
Oh my
scary. I
goodness.
was
It's
like,
so.
no, oh, no. And the whole, I was like, oh, this is it's terrifying. I
Oh,
didn't expect it to lean so hard into like really scary stuff.
yeah.
Um, and
Horror.
I was having trouble picturing getting to the spice agony in this episode, and they managed to. So that's also why I'm feeling like they managed to move in a clip. Like at the end of last episode, Kasha dies. Now, the sisterhood has been effectively evicted from the palace. They've lost this child to spice agony, and they now have this new prophecy from Raquela's other memory, which is not really how other memory works. So that's a little rough. But you know, again, Brian's involved, so what can you do?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so we'll see. But I had a blast.
That's fair.
It'll
I
be
mean, you're right. When
yeah.
you lay it out like that, I guess you are like making me rethink it a little bit. Like things happened, things certainly happened. Um,
I think what will happen for both of us, I think
yeah,
you
I'll
will
have to
like
sit
the
with my
episode more,
feelings.
and I'll like it less.
We'll
By
meet in
the
the
end
middle,
of
somewhere.
it, you always do a good job of convincing me of the problems things have, and I think I'll bring you around on some of it. But
Yeah, yeah,
I think
you already are. You already are.
I'm excited because I took like 6 pages of notes. So I'm like excited to go back and revisit the episode. There's also something to be said, like if I watch it 3 times and I like it more the third time, that doesn't make it better for people watching it the first time.
Yeah,
So there is that argument to be made as well. It's like, yeah, after a conversation with your buddy on your Dune podcast, you like the episode more, still means that there was maybe a missed opportunity for the episode on the first time around, right?
yeah,
So we'll see. We'll see. But
yeah.
again, that Spice Agony was so sick. I'm just so
Oh,
glad
it
we're
was so
seeing
good.
this stuff like
It was so
rendered
good. And the
so,
abomination, like her being taken over for like
oh,
a hot second, was
yeah,
horrifying stuff.
by
So good.
Dorothea. So
Yeah,
Dorothea,
a big
I mean,
reveal. Yeah,
yeah, I mean, like I know from Sisterhood of Dune that Dorothea was Raquel's. Oh, no, I think they said it maybe in the first episode. We'll have to double check. But yeah, the so plus we have that message, the Raquel voicemail of like one born twice, once from Spice, and that whole thing.
yeah,
Nice of her to
yeah.
rhyme it. Again, bars. We'll have to kind
Right,
of pick those apart.
right. Yes, that's fascinating. I definitely wrote that quote down too, because there's maybe something to pick apart there, but it could also just be literal. Um, Desmond also, it's starting to lean more and more psychic powers, right? Because
I don't know. I
the
was
soup
thinking
doctor
more and
came
more.
early and was like, "Oh, something in like what was it?
Yeah,
Like the amygdala of her brain or something overloaded or
yeah,
blah blah
yeah,
blah."
yeah.
I forget what the technical term they used was, but
I
it
could
seems to be
still be.
like it could still
I
be
don't know.
technology. I
I could see
guess,
it
but
being like
like Tula was like there
X-rays or
was no.
like
I didn't
radiation or
detect any
something.
agent. I didn't detect any
I
like
guess I think they
acceleration
were looking for
agent.
like poison. Like I think they were looking for,
Yeah,
which again, like yeah, it's not a poison that sets you on fire. I
yeah,
think that's just called gasoline in a match.
right.
But I do think because also there were like some sound cues when Desmond like turns his head off after he like calls it off on the Richese
The
guy,
Duke, yeah, on
Duke
the Duke,
Richese.
right?
uh he stops it, and the way he does that, I was like, I don't know, this feels like there's something in his right eye, like a
Yeah,
piece of technology or something in his right eye that allows him to like, I don't know. It'll be
yeah,
very interesting to see
right.
what
Definitely a
that
core
is.
mystery of the show for sure. They want us to be asking these questions for sure. It's all
Yeah.
very intentional.
Oh, and they had the whole the path is too short, the shortening of the path, the Kwisatz Haderach reference.
Yes, some subtle
Was kind
little
of fun.
writing. Yeah, I caught
That
that
was
too.
cool.
It was fun.
Yeah, it'll be really fun to kind of pick all of that apart.
Yeah, there was a
um
couple other lore things as well. Like Desmond is from the planet Balut, and I'm like, I memory doesn't serve like what that is
yeah,
exactly, but it could be
yeah,
worth doing some research and looking into like
right,
what if that's a lore deep cut and
yeah,
finding out like what Desmond's origin planet is. Maybe it tells us more
yeah.
about him.
We got a Vorian Atreides name drop. That was cool.
Yeah, that's right. We did. We did.
That's kind of fun. He's still technically alive if the timeline if the timeline is fitting to Brian's story. So Vorian's out there. That could be
Yeah,
kind of a fun episode
right.
5
Isn't in the
reveal.
book he's like a half robot or something or
He's
something.
been given a life extension treatment. What that
Oh,
means, who's to fucking say?
gotcha.
But it seems
I
like
see.
he
I
can be
see.
stabbed and killed pretty normally.
Got
He
it.
gets stabbed toward the end of the book,
Hmm. Okay.
but
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see.
I think a good. You're right. I want to sit with my feelings a bit more because my instant reaction was definitely the ick. But the more we talk about it, the more we get into the lore stuff. Obviously, like talking with you and digging deep into these episodes is where I
Yeah,
mine a lot of my enjoyment from.
yeah, yeah,
And so this was just like a first viewing and a gut reaction. I was just frustrated by some of the storytelling choices and clunkiness of it all.
yeah,
But I think we got a very cool portrayal of a very iconic
yeah,
concept and thing in the Dune
yeah.
universe. First time ever sort of getting that version of it. And to me, what feels like a definitive version of the agony. You know, we've seen different interpretations of what an agony looks like.
Mhm.
This feels like the um,
Yeah,
coolest one for sure.
yeah. I
Where
completely
do we
agree.
think we go
Yeah.
from here? Like Kieran is maybe going to get outed as a spy, right? Like we're kind of planting the seed for that.
Yes, except I don't think by so Valia, I think Valia is not going to be able to bring that information to light, nor does she want to, because everything she's done is just to progress the sisterhood. So I think we're going to see Valia pivot, Hart pivot, and like what's the play to kill this guy who's immune to the voice. Oh my God,
Yeah.
that little
Woo!
smile on his face as he was like, okay, I'll stop fucking with you. I'm going to put my knife away now. That was fun.
Yeah. It was
Fun little
good. It
moment.
was a good scene. Great
Um,
act. I mean, Travis Fimmel is killing
he's
it
so
right
good.
now. He's
He's so
killing it.
good.
Every time he's on screen, it's like the perfect amount of unnerving and
Yeah.
dangerous and elusive.
Are you a prophet? She asks.
Yeah.
Not so long ago, I would have laughed at that. I believed in nothing. God, it's so good. Yeah, there's definitely some good stuff. It does feel, it's so funny. I keep thinking about what Nerd Cookie said. It's like it does feel like some scenes are written by like people who are just like kind of doing whatever, and then other scenes I'm like, wow, I really like this. This is fun. Uh,
Yes.
that's interesting.
I think she was very. That was a very poignant observation from her because there does feel like there is an inconsistency in the writing, almost from scene to scene. Like
Yeah, yeah,
we
yeah,
get some incredible stuff with deep cuts and little nods towards shortening of the way,
yeah, yeah,
and then we get like really clunky, which again feels to me like too much feedback. Some like producer came in and was like, "I don't get it," and then
yeah,
like you need to rewrite this scene and explain this
yeah.
more because I'm
Make it
confused.
simpler.
Make it
Make it
simpler.
easy.
Um, Parts of that felt clunky.
What if they
Uh,
fucked? They should fuck in this
right.
scene.
Ugh. Shouts to Constantine for full
Oh,
on WikiLeaksing state secrets. Like, my guy,
good.
what are you doing?
Good Lord. I mean, he's hitting the gym is what he's doing. Clearly. What a physique. Also, I will say, I think it is clear that that people who work on this show deeply care about Dune. Like some of the references they've dropped, I'm like, oh, these are people who care and are like trying to like work this into a an enjoyable experience. It might not land 100%, but I saw a comment on our Patreon recently about someone going, "Hey, I appreciate like the perspective, and I think I like this more." I'm glad for us to do that if we can, because I do think that I think there's like real passion here from some of the team, and
Yeah,
it'll be fun to talk to it'll be
yeah.
fun to talk to the
I
showrunner.
just I just still need the execution to be good, you know?
True,
Like I
true, true,
I
true.
can't help
Yeah,
but compare it to an excellent like 12 out of 10 show that I'm watching right now, Arcane season 2,
yeah, oh,
which is
yeah,
9 episodes, right? Longer than this season,
yeah,
9 episodes, and is moving at what feels like 10 times the pace that this show is moving.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, and they only have 9 episodes to tell this incredible story. And oh, you know, there are folks in that conversation being like, "You're going too fast, like slow down." Um, but they're telling their fucking story. You know, they're
yeah.
going.
True. Yeah.
And so maybe that's why I just have this like very direct comparison point for pacing, and maybe that's why I'm feeling this sort of like glacial, frustratingly slow
Mm,
pace on this end. Um,
yeah, that's possible.
but like I think like Arcane has a level of like honed in focus that I
Yeah.
kind of want more of from Prophecy. Like it is a story about these two sisters and this these two cities and the conflict between them. And there are different characters doing different things at different times, but they all intersect in a meaningful way that
Mm,
comes back to the main story. Right now, in the first 2 episodes of Prophecy, we are mostly seeing a lot of different characters doing different things
mm,
and loosely causing like a domino to fall for someone else. You know, Constantine says a thing, it annoys the
yeah.
Emperor. Desmond kills someone, suddenly Volley is triggered. Like the I'm still not seeing like what is the main story we're trying to tell,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
and
I mean,
I'll have to
I
sit with that because maybe it just I just need to reflect a bit more on it, and it'll
well,
come to me.
I think they're gonna make it about Valia, Desmond, and the sisterhood, and kind of where they go from now. They have this message from Raquella, so they're gonna do something with that, or it's gonna inform decisions they make from here. But now
Yeah,
it's like damage
yeah,
control into the plan that they form, into executing that plan, into they either succeed or they fail, and that'll be the 6 episode arc, I think. But at the end of the
yeah.
day, it is feeling a lot like the Brian Herbert book, where again, you're following like four different
A
characters in
lot
four
of
different
plots.
places,
Yeah,
and they don't
that are
really
all
relate
like
that much.
tangentially related. You know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like
yeah,
the great legendary
that's sort
hero
of my
Florian
fear. It's
Atreides.
feeling like a Brian Herbert book where you're following a bunch of like uh, different, loosely connected threads versus
Yeah,
one singular, powerful story. Um, and that's a storytelling choice. You know, there's no right or wrong. You can do both things extremely well and
yeah,
effectively.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we'll have to see where it goes in
We will.
future episodes. Okay, cool.
All right,
All right,
dude.
I'll let you get back
Yeah,
to something. I don't know what you're
heading
doing
to
out there.
rehearsal. Heading to rehearsal. It never stops.
uh,
But I think
God,
actually
you
starting to
couldn't
work on
find
this
me in the
script to
city.
talk about it. Yeah. I know it's not the best, but yeah, we'll get started on that script. I can't wait to
Yes.
talk about this more in depth with you, dude.
Yeah, yeah. Stay tuned, folks, for our full breakdown episode. We'll see you on that one.
Coming
Okay.
soon.
Bye, Leah. Have fun at
Bye.
rehearsal.
Yep.